Warning, this podcast contains sexual content, graphic language, and bodily functions. Get over it.
I'm Heather Ann Gottlieb, and this is Dirty Girl, the podcast that shares stories from real women about their disgusting habits, taboo secrets, and unruly pastimes.
Fart, burp, queef your little heart out. It's not a girl thing. It's not a boy thing. It's not a woman or a man thing. Everybody has a body, and it's disgusting, and we all just need to accept it and love it.
How can we take this to the next level of disgusting?
So a couple years after I became sexually active, I realized I had never actually orgasmed. I had plenty of sexual encounters, but I didn't actually climax. When my friends talked about having orgasms, I got a little embarrassed. Like, how do you know if you've had an orgasm? And they'd say, oh, yeah, you'd know. So one night, I committed myself to my bed and decided tonight is the night. My friends gave me advice, all the different fun techniques to try. Oh, if this doesn't work, how about more pressure? Maybe a little different setting, maybe change the mood, you know. And I concentrated very hard. Harder than I ever concentrated in school. I wanted this more than anything. I did not want to be broken. I did not want to be one of those women who didn't come. I wanted to feel the thing that all my friends gushed about. And just as I was starting to get heated, it felt like maybe this is the moment, an earthquake happened. Yeah, no. This isn't a metaphor for an orgasm. The ground shook. Mother Nature got an orgasm. Not me, not Mother Heather. After that, the mood was ruined. But you know, a year later, I finally did get my first orgasm. It was magical. He rode up on a white steed and we galloped together and, well, actually, no, it was a one-night stand and the condom broke and we had to go to CVS at 2 a.m. to get Plan B, and I gave him a $20 bill and said, splitsies, and he didn't think it was funny. But we're still Facebook friends. But anyway, I came. In today's episode, self-love, or coming to terms with cumming. The thing that, yes, even women do. We'll hear about why you should always wash your hands before handling yourself, a woman whose biggest turn-on is the woman herself, and a story about discovering your clitoris for the first time. It's a masturbation vacation and we're getting off on this train. No, it's a masturbation vacation and we're all getting off on this train.
I masturbate a lot and no one wants to talk about it.
This is Kelly. Kelly and I talked about the challenges of maintaining a healthy single-sided sex life.
But me and my friends just recently started being like, I got this vibrator, check it out. So that's cool. We're older now. Everyone fucks and everyone masturbates. So I have roommates, and I would say I masturbate when they're home, which is not ideal, but you gotta do what you gotta do. But it's a little risky because I don't have a lock on my door, and sometimes they come in without knocking. Whatever. If they walk in on me, is that really that embarrassing? I'd be like, whoops. And then I would probably ruin the moment for me. I wouldn't continue.
What if you did continue?
I'd be like, oh, hey, how's it going? Can you leave? But yeah, it has not happened, so that's good. Oh, one of the grosser things I do is I masturbate when my dog is in the room. But I feel like it's more obvious if I lock her out. I wonder what she is doing in there with locking Rosie out of her room. So that's uncomfortable and weird. And I'll fuck if she's in the room too. But obviously she's not on the bed. But sometimes when I masturbate, she's on the bed, but she'll be asleep. It's fine. She's not next to me. It's fair. And I also can't really use my vibrators because they're loud. And basically one of my roommates is always home.
Do you just play music? Or...
I'll just turn the TV up. Really loud.
Do you think your vibrators are really loud, or is it just because I feel like my vibrators are
loud,
but I don't actually know.
I feel so one of them is kind of quiet, and I'll be once I'm done, I'm holy shit, this is loud. But I think it's actually pretty quiet. But I feel there is a way to maybe test it and put it on your covers and walk outside of your room and see if you can hear it. But I have not done that. I've thought about doing it, and maybe I should. Maybe I could use them. But I can use my quieter one because I really don't think it makes noise. I really don't. But I have a different one that's louder that I cannot use. That'd be embarrassing. to be very obvious.
You know what they say, it's not the volume of your vibrator, it's how you use it.
You're gross.
Yeah, I'm super gross.
Awesome. You're perfect for this podcast.
Good.
This is Lizzie. Her story begins one time when she just had to go to town on some flamin' hot Cheetos. Ooh.
Okay, so one time I was eating hot Cheetos, and I decided it was time to, get off, and I didn't realize that I still had hot Cheetos dots on my fingers, and burned my vagina. I've done that twice, not with hot Cheetos. One time was also with that nail stuff that you put on your nails that you're not supposed to bite.
Oh.
And then I did the exact same thing.
What were they, different burning sensations?
The nail one hurt more.
Yeah.
That one I had to go shower.
Ow.
The hot Cheetos, I was like, oh, I should just kind of clean that up a little bit. But that was pretty brutal. It's a pretty brutal situation. Learned my lesson. Wash your hands before masturbating.
That's one way to spice up your sex life.
Cheetos, wash your hands before touching your genitals.
This is Stacy, and her take on self-love is just a little above and beyond the Call of Duty, and it's totally amazing, and you're gonna friggin' love it because I friggin' love it, and this is her story, which she calls...
The day I made love to myself.
Oh, yes.
That was, oh my God. So guys, ladies, you can do this. It's amazing. So I do it all the time now. It's a new thing. So there's masturbation, right? There's for men, there's just rubbing it out and getting it done because you got to go to sleep or, study and you have a hard on or whatever. But women get that too. We need to let our bodies relax and release. And so I'm a very, regular masturbator. I go through phases. Sometimes I'm a little more, busy or distracted, but for the most part, it's multiple times a week, if not multiple times a day, which is awesome. And it's not I need to, or else I feel, disconnected or bad. So, you cannot masturbate too much if you're just doing it because it feels good. If you need to feel good and that's so you're, it's getting in the way of your life, please call a therapist. So I used to watch a lot of porn. I watch less porn now, but I used to watch a lot of porn to masturbate. I had a good solid spank bank outside of porn. And so I think I was laying in bed and I started watching porn. I think I was watching a gay gangbang or something, which is a go-to of mine. Gay rough sex is watching two masculine dominant people. Actually, it's never two. Watching one masculine dominant male be gangbanged by many masculine dominant men, consensually, is very hot to me. So I was watching that. I'm pretty sure. It's like a slave way. It's hot. xnxx.com has some really great videos, just FYI. So does Pornhub, but whatever. Anyway, so I was watching this video. We're losing track of the story. And I was I don't feel like watching porn tonight. So I went into the spank bank and I started thinking about Mr. Wednesday. And it was kind of working for me. And then I was whatever. And and then I started thinking about this person. Let's call him Texas. And I hadn't had sex with him. We had sex once. It was okay. It's a little underwhelming. And so I was I just started paying attention to my own sensations. And the next thing I know, I am masturbating and I'm breathing out and I'm saying, I love you. I'm saying I love you to myself in my bed. And I come. And then I come again. And then I squirt. And then I'm pretty sure I squirted again. And it shot off my bed onto, I remember I took a picture, a bag that was sitting on my floor.
It made it
made it onto the bag. The bag wasn't open, but it was now, ladies and gentlemen, and non-identifiers, I have squirted maybe twice accidentally in my life. And this was like the third time that I'd squirted. So I had squirted once. I remember it was like a new thing for me. And I have like, I love masturbating because it's so cool. There's so many different sensations down there. Ladies, if you don't masturbate, please get on that. Like, you can go at the left side, the right side. One's more sensitive. You can go under the clit. You can go to the bone to the left of the clit. It's like the bone where like your left lip is, your right, depends on like what side works for you. Like, and it gives you a whole other sensation. There's different kinds of breathing you can do. I mean, you get like full body shakes, all these great things. So if you do not masturbate, please start doing that, because also it lessens your need to pick terrible men. Because if you can give it to yourself, you're going to be a hell of a lot pickier, because you don't just need to like feel, pleased and like comforted for a second. They probably can't do as well as you can anyway, so you end up doing it to yourself most of the time anyway. But so I came, I squirted again, I cried. I remember. So I came, I squirted, I laughed, I cried, I laughed that I was crying, and then I wrote myself a love poem. It's like 3:00 in the morning. And I'm just literally like, you could have planted a person there. And I was like making love to myself for the very first time. And it was awesome. And I do it regularly now, which is so great, for every reason. Self-esteem, fucking everything. But oh my God, I wrote this poem at 3:00 in the morning. It's like a spoken word poem to myself about making love to myself right after making love to myself. Yeah, that was epic. And I had the best day the next day. It was literally like, I got asked out twice that week, I remember, because I was so glowy that people were like, you were totally in love. And I just was like, no, dude, you just don't know what happens in my bed.
And you were totally in love with yourself.
I was totally no, it was like, that was it. It was like, I wanted to change my relationship status on Facebook. It was like, we were in. And honestly, like, until like after that, it's like, I mean, I can have these times, man, where I like go out in public after like totally chilling and fucking myself like for a while, because I take my time. It's nice to do that every once in a while. And people are like, oh, someone's in love, someone's getting it. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And it's so nice. Although now I'm like getting it, and I'm like sort of, I don't want to say I'm falling, but I still do it with myself all the time. And it actually helps our, sex too. Because then I can like take breaks and do it for myself. And he can take breaks. And now I'm rambling.
This is Julia. You know how there is a stigma in our culture and our very psyches against the idea of thinking female masturbation is allowed, let alone healthy? You know, that cute little thing? Yeah, it's no surprise that when we finally get over that stigma, we realize that it was implanted into us from an early age when we first followed our emerging natural impulses. So here's a story about one woman making an earth-shaking discovery.
I've never been especially lucky. I don't win things, and I've never randomly found $5 in my pocket. But I have always been curious, and definitely always had questionable boundaries. I think I was 6 when I forced my neighbor Corey, an extremely docile boy who wore very thick lenses, to show me his if I showed him mine. At roughly 3 p.m. on a Friday, we both pulled down our pants behind his house. I was fascinated. He, on the other hand, seemed to have no further questions. I was an independent kid, though, and I didn't need anyone else to show interest in my vagina to know that it was something extraordinary and worth beholding. I chalked this confidence up to my natural tendency towards delusion. As a kid, I refused to wear anything but what I called ballerinas, which were tutus, and I was an aspiring actress, which I think speaks for itself. At around the age of 10, I had what I fondly called my eureka moment, a serendipitous encounter, the universal sign that I was indeed special. The setting, a 3rd grade classroom. The time, 3 p.m. Our desks in school were those where the tops opened to a drawer beneath and the chair was attached to the desk itself. So given that the chair was attached, there was this large metal bar underneath the desk. I think it should be mentioned at this point that in addition to my DSM symptoms of delusion and possible narcissism, I was also deficit in the area of attention. In a fit of restlessness one day and an attempt to impress the boy seated behind me, I thrust my hips and ultimately my vagina into the bar. Things with him never panned out, but my relationship with the bar sure did. I remember this feeling of, holy shit, has no one realized the magic of this movement? Wait, am I a genius? That's definitely what's happening. I'm a child prodigy of pleasure. It was like a little electrical pulse every time I hit the top of my vagina against the desk. I have absolutely no idea if anyone ever noticed that I was humping this desk for like a good year, but I like to think that it was mentioned in a parent-teacher conference and my parents just couldn't conceive of an appropriate way to broach the subject. Soon, I expanded my repertoire. At approximately 5 p.m. on a Sunday in the living room of my house, I discovered the arm of the couch. I was straddling the couch, watching cartoons, and again, in a fit of restlessness and an inability to sit still, I de facto started banging it. Several times my mom found me doing this, and as any good sexually repressed Catholic would do, she would horrifyingly ask me, "What the hell are you doing?" I got pretty good at coming up with child-friendly reasons, like, "I was pretending to be a cowgirl, Mom." After about a 6-month period of research and development, I had a playdate scheduled with one of my best friends. Let's call her Beth. One of my most recent trials was with the pillow. This allowed for maximum privacy in the bedroom and versatility, as I could easily position it in any way I wanted. It was definitely the new fave. After a series of socially normative pleasantries, did you see what Drew did on the swings yesterday? Oh my god, Carol is so annoying. It dawned on me that I was sitting on a miracle discovery that I had yet shared with anyone else. I grabbed 2 pillows off my bed. Can I show you something I just discovered? Cue visions of self presenting this world-altering finding at the White House. I threw her one of the pillows. She gave me kind of a puzzled look, but I led with my usual questionable boundaries and delusional sense of confidence. I put the pillow on the floor and straddled it. This feels amazing. I haven't told anyone about it, but I think you should totally try it. I proceeded to demonstrate how you could scrunch the pillow up and use it to hit the clit accordingly. I did this for a couple of minutes in front of her and then encouraged her to do the same. She grabbed the pillow and started to copy my movements. At first, her face looked confused and then enlightened, which only furthered my genius complex. Soon, the 2 of us were simultaneously plowing pillows. I'm not sure how much time passed, you know the bliss, and I was certain that I had shut the door, but suddenly there were 2 extra voices in the room. I looked up, and my mother and Beth's mom were standing in the doorway. Beth hadn't noticed yet, and I had to do a "dude, stop, dude" poke. Both of the women's faces were stunned and embarrassed with not the slightest hint of amusement. Beth's mom quickly grabbed her arm and rushed her downstairs. My mother looked at me, probably questioned her decision to procreate, then followed suit after Beth's mom. I remained steadfast, so I can only imagine my mother tried to save face offering to pick up the kids from soccer practice and yelling, "You know kids these days, television, celebrities." Needless to say, Beth never came over to my house again. She was my first and only pupil. It wasn't until some years later, probably in middle school, when I discovered porn that I realized I hadn't made some startling discovery. I was not, in fact, a prodigy, but rather an incredibly horny child. But even if it all goes to say I'm, not Mensa eligible, I'm still truly thankful and consider myself lucky for finding the desk in room 203. It's truly been a gift that keeps on giving.
Dirty Girl is a podcast that you just listened to. It's produced by me, along with Cameron Tagge and Alex Salem. You can find us on Instagram at Dirty Girl Pod. I post a shitload of uber feminist stuff. You're gonna love it. We're also on Twitter and Facebook, same handle, but Instagram is my favorite. I'm Heather Ann Gottlieb. I will see you next time. Until then, take some time to be dirty today.